So, Rick, very easy question taking in consideration the storm in United States and Canada, which was not really the nicest of surprises for Christmas, how it impacted or the air traffic and especially people behavior.
Well, what we're seeing is, one of the major airlines canceled almost three-quarters of their flight schedule. So the challenge at the airport has been the customers who have checked in for their flight trying to get their luggage back so that they could drive to their destination, and the airlines are unable to retrieve their personal belongings. So tempers were very sharp. I also experienced having my flight canceled, and it was challenging to find a way out. What we need to do as the airlines is we need to have better solutions so that we can help the customers at these times. Just saying I can't get your luggage because we're overwhelmed ignites the tempers, and then it also gets the crowd riled up. So now you have more and more people upset. So the airlines can find a way to proactively prevent the cancellations, not take the luggage at the ticket counter, and work on a resolution before the people are actually trapped. Most of the complaints this last week have come from people who feel like they're trapped at the airport and have no alternatives.
Uh, any logical advices for people who are stressed, who have no clue what to do when they are in front of guys at the airport at the check-in who are not even aware of how it will be in 1 hour? Will the situation be different? The question is simple. How do I get my temper in some kind of normal way? And what exactly should I do? Maybe I'm not even talking to the right person.
Correct. That's a great question, Tatiana. So my first recommendation is always before you leave home, look at the weather. Have an idea what's going on. A lot of people, and I've done it myself 20 years ago. I left for Minneapolis wearing shorts and a t-shirt in Fort Lauderdale because it was 85. And the ticket agent in Fort Lauderdale says, you do realize it's snowing in Minneapolis. So I learned my lesson. Number one, look at the weather. Look at the weather, where you're going to go and where you're coming from. And it should give you an idea if there's something already happening. A lot of the airlines do post warnings on their website that there could be cancellations. But if you get to the airport and your flight is still scheduled to go, the next step is to check in. And then if you find out it's canceled, be patient because it is going to be a lot of people. My advice is to avoid anybody that seems to be overly angry. Don't stand too close to them. Get away because sometimes people do have a tendency to grab something and begin throwing it. And especially in a crowded situation, if you can't back up or get more distance between yourself, you could be hurt by flying objects. There was just an incident in Miami a couple days ago where the passenger was so upset that she was throwing literally the keyboard monitors around, and that's a heavy piece of equipment. So keep your distance, don't get caught up in the crowd, and be patient. The phone lines are going to be jammed, 2-hour wait. That's not going to be anything. I suggest, personally, travel light, don't check any luggage, and that way, if the flight's canceled, you can leave and call the airline later on. It's only the people that are checking luggages are finding it very challenging to get the luggage back at this time during the crunches.
So first, don't be stressed when it's a really stressful situation. Uh, you know that a lot of people are trying to push uh, people in the airport to find a solution. It's the most, everyone knows that Home Alone and the mom who tells,
Yes,
no, I want it now. It doesn't make sense because actually people can do strictly nothing to help everyone they have in a crowded airport. So first, that don't get angry and get out if you're not with the luggage. But a lot of people who are traveling home for Christmas, let's say, they will have this luggage.
correct.
definitely. So they will be no escape from the airport, and they will be pushing everyone they see from the airline, from the local airport, to do something so they could fly. Does it make sense? Or it maybe, do yoga, think about it, or I
Yeah.
mean, this is the real situation, because you know that there is no issue. You cannot escape. Your luggage is somewhere you have no clue where it is, and you can't just leave, and walk out the door.
And IATA is reporting, we're at record passenger loads. And I personally was traveling on one of the major airlines. They canceled my flight on Christmas Eve and told me they could get me out on Wednesday, which was 4 days later. And it's not because they don't care. It's just the flights are so full and there were no other options for me to go. So I kept playing on the computer, which ruined Christmas Eve, unfortunately, until I saw a cancellation. I was able to grab a seat and get out. So that's the other option. Don't waste your time in line at the ticket counter. Get on the website and start looking, because people were changing their plans. And as they changed their plans, seats became available. And I was able to get home on Christmas Day. Uh, you had an excellent good point, too. If you're going to drive, also look at the weather there too, because as you see in northern the United States, in Buffalo, New
Yes.
York, people were trapped in the snow. So I don't want you to not take your flight and then get in a car and unfortunately, get stuck outside too. Again, look at the weather at your destination and en route.
So basically, you have first start to check a day or 2 days before you're supposed to fly. Check the weather, and then in every situation, you have to be proactive and think one step further than the actual situation is. Lucky passengers who had some issues, proposals from the airline, then they are on board, and maybe the flight is canceled again, or they are getting late and they're sitting on a crowded plane. Everyone is nervous. What exactly you do?
That happens a lot too. So the first thing is be patient when you're on the plane. I know it's easy for me to say. People will get up and start walking up and down the aisles. It's okay to stand up and stretch at your seat, but when you start walking up and down the aisles, especially when the plane is loaded, that makes other people nervous and anxious. And I personally witnessed a couple disruptions over the past week, where passengers were arguing with the flight attendants at the door. And because of a 1 hour delay, the flight was delayed 1 hour, and they started asking the in-flight crew members. Remember, the flight attendants are there for the safety and security of the passengers. They don't necessarily know exactly what's going on. It turned out to be a major ticketing issue with a couple passengers. So it's not that they weren't giving information, they didn't know, and they're waiting for the okay to leave. So be patient, get up and stretch. They're probably not going to bring out the carts for service. They may hand out water bottles depending on how long. And again, you can't bring out the carts when you're on the ground for safety reasons, because now you're blocking the aisles. So a lot of people don't know that. You can't block the aisles because if there is an emergency, the people need to get off the plane. Um, and it's a good time to start playing on your phone. The TVs work on most of the airlines. That's what I did. I finished a whole movie before we left, the airport. So
What I suggest we to do, we will split in the topic of how to be safe when you travel on several topics, and we will start to educate people together with you from the very, very beginning. So after that turbulent Christmas travel for everyone, we could start the year 2023 with real educational program,
that
how
would
to
be
do
great.
and how to travel safely. Let's say basic guidelines. It will definitely help a lot of passengers to start the air travel, long before they are actually will get on the plane. And it will be, I think, very useful to educate passengers, and it will help airport people to work in a better condition, and airlines as well. And crew members will be happy to have smiling, calm passengers on board.
They really are there to help. And, I always found it interesting. I started my career 20 years ago as a gate agent. And I was shocked to see what goes into getting a flight out on time. But when you say it's delayed due to weather, I've had people come up and say, I've talked to my relatives. It's a beautiful day in England. Why are we not leaving? Well, remember, we got to get to England, So there can be en route weather. The plane could be coming from somewhere that was affected by weather. So it's always good. Like I said, I always do the weather first. That's going to give you a really good picture. And they really do want you to go. And they try their best,
Perfect. Even before, I wish you a very, very, very happy New Year. And I'm very much looking forward to work with you and give a little bit more of understanding of air travel to all the flying guys.
It'll be great. Will we be in St. Martin this year again?
Yes, definitely.
All right, excellent.
You can't escape, but
if you need anything, give us a call.
Perfect. Talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.